Hi, I'm Radek. I'm a developer advocate at QuickNode, and in this video I will focus on staking. Specifically, I will walk you through what is staking, why stake on Ethereum, what are the staking options, and what are the pros and cons for each option. In short, you'll learn if you should consider earning staking rewards on Ethereum, and if you decide that you want to, which option would be the best for you. Ready? Let's go! Let's start with defining staking. So what is staking? Staking is the act of depositing 32 ETH to activate validator software. As a validator, you'll be responsible for storing data, processing transactions, adding new blocks to the blockchain, and this in turn will keep Ethereum secure for everyone and also earn you new ETH in the process. Current APR, which is annual percentage rate, is 5.1%, which is quite nice. So why do I need to have funds at stake? A validator has the ability to propose and attest to blocks for the network. So previously, when Ethereum was proof of work, not proof of stake, this was achieved by mining. So why stake on Ethereum? You can stake different cryptocurrencies. Why Ethereum? Staking on Ethereum could be for you if you want to validate the network, increase its health and security, and gain a reasonable payout in the process. It's also comparatively low risk compared to other cryptocurrencies. Ether is a stable staking option, and its popularity, global use, and security give it an advantage over most other tokens, so you have reduced risk of your investment. If you want to stake, what are the options? There are actually 4 options for staking. The first one is solo staking. It's the gold standard of staking. You earn directly from the protocol without anyone taking a cut. You have the full control, but it's also most technically challenging because you need to run your own hardware, you need to run your own Ethereum node, Ethereum validator, and you need to have good internet connection. The second option is staking as a service. So you still have your own validator, it's just run by someone else. You don't run it yourself, you outsource it to a third party. And they in turn are taking a cut for running your node for you. The third option is pooled staking, when you put your funds into a pool and earn as part of that pool and get part of those rewards minus the fees. And the fourth option is to earn staking rewards on centralized exchanges. Now let's have a look at the pros and cons for each option. Starting with the earning potential, the highest earning potential is with solo staking. You earn directly from the protocol, you don't have anyone taking a cut, you earn on 100% of your staking rewards. And currently it's about 5.1% per year. With staking as a service, pooled staking, and centralized exchanges, you pay a fee to either a third party who is running your node or a liquidity staking owner or the centralized exchange. But all of these options are lower than the earning potential of solo staking. Now, how easy is it to use each of those options? Solo staking is definitely the most involved method. You need the most to do in order to start solo staking. You need your own hardware, you need to install the system there, you need to run your Ethereum node, your validator, so that definitely is not the easiest one. Staking as a service is easier to start. There's no need to buy hardware or install any software or secure your network, but it's still non-trivial. With pooled staking, it's really easy to start. There's no need to buy any hardware or install any software or secure a network. It's as easy as a token swap. If you can swap a token, you can probably start pool staking. Centralized exchanges, very similar. If you can buy a cryptocurrency on centralized exchange, you can probably also start staking there as well. It's as easy as that. What are the trust, control, and risk factors? With solo staking, you have the full control. You have the hardware, you install the software, you control everything, you control your keys. Nobody has access to anything of your own, your keys, your crypto. You are in full control. With staking as a service, someone is running your node. Someone is controlling the node that you put your 32 ETH into. Do you fully trust the third party that handles your stake? What if they are attacked or regulated because they are an easier target to do that? Also, some of the code that software as a service companies use is not open sourced or audited. Some of them are, not all of them. So there's an additional layer of risk there. With pooled staking, you usually get liquidity tokens that you keep in your own wallet that represent a claim on your staked ETH. These tokens then later can be used as collateral in DeFi. So trust and security risk is the risk of just holding crypto in your wallet. If you take care of securing your wallet, then you are good to go there. Staking on centralized exchanges requires the biggest level of trust because you outsource everything to the centralized exchange. And the centralized exchanges themselves are a large central target that is then easy to use for potential attacks or for regulators. It's a big target to go after. What's the impact on Ethereum ecosystem? With solo staking, you strengthen the health and security of the Ethereum protocol because you are adding to the decentralization of the ecosystem, and that in turn makes the protocol safer, makes the protocol more resistant to attacks. Staking as a service has some negative effect on network decentralization because they do it at scale, and that usually involves centralizing rather than decentralizing. Pooled staking is not native to Ethereum network. It's something built on top of that. Third parties build and run these services, and that adds another layer of risk. Centralized exchanges, as the name suggests, are more centralized than decentralized, which is not what the ecosystem goes for and strives for. So it has a negative impact on the Ethereum ecosystem as a whole. What's the cost to start staking with each of the options? The first two options, solo staking and staking as a service, are the most expensive because you need to have 32 ETH to start staking, which is a non-trivial amount. With pooled staking or centralized exchanges, you can start with as little as 0.01 ETH and go as high as you want. What's the level of know-how, the level of technical proficiency needed for each option? For solo staking, it requires at least intermediate plus technical proficiency. You need to have your own hardware. You need to install the operating system on it. You need to run an Ethereum full node on it. You need to run a validator on that hardware. And although there are some tutorials how to do that, it's not easy to do, but I'm going to make it easier by releasing a step-by-step tutorial as my next video, where I will take you through all the steps from buying the hardware with no operating system on it, then installing the operating system, then having an Ethereum node running there, and then running the Ethereum validator on it, and then starting to earn rewards on that. I will show everything step by step. So if you want to choose this option, you will have like a blueprint to do it from zero to starting to earn staking rewards. The know-how needed for staking as a service is still non-trivial, but definitely much easier than going with solo staking, because that's the whole idea, that someone is doing the hard part for you. You just do some of the technical stuff, like generating the signing keys and keeping the keys secure and so on. The know-how for pooled staking or liquid staking or centralized exchanges is minimal. If you can do transactions like swap tokens, or if you can buy cryptocurrency on centralized exchanges, you're good to go. What's the level of your own responsibility with each option? With solo staking, you have the full responsibility for securing your keys. You control everything, you own everything, but you also need to secure everything yourself. Staking as a service has some limited risk. In many cases, the keys that enable withdrawing your 32 ETH are controlled by you and stored exclusively on your system. So nobody, no third party, no staking as a service company will be able to withdraw your stake, and only you can do that. So there's a limited risk there. With pooled staking, there is a minimized risk and responsibility. You have and keep liquidity tokens in your own wallet. So if your wallet is safe, you're safe as well. Centralized exchanges, not your keys, not your crypto. You need to trust your centralized exchange that they will stay in business. If they go out of business, your crypto is gone. Now, how easy is it to withdraw your staking rewards and your stake? For a long time, for solo staking or for staking as a service, it wasn't known when the withdrawal will be possible. Right now, we know that the withdrawal will come. Right now, we know that withdrawal possibility will come with the next Ethereum update, which will be the Shanghai upgrade. And it's scheduled now for some time at the beginning of April. So there is slightly delayed withdrawals option coming in a month or so, and the same for the staking as a service option. After the Shanghai upgrade, you will be able to withdraw at will. There is no such limitation for pooled staking or centralized exchange staking. It's easy to exit, no need to wait for enabling withdrawals because you're dealing with liquidity tokens and not with stake Ethereum on Beacon Chain. And the last is the requirements for each option. So for both solo staking and staking as a service, it's 32 ETH. You need to have that in order to be able to start staking. With solo staking, you also need your own hardware, a good network connection that is running 24/7, and it's also fast, because if your validator stays offline for extended periods of time, you will get some penalties and you will earn less of staking rewards. With staking the service, you need to also be able to securely store your keys that will enable you to withdraw when you have that option. For pooled staking, you don't really have any requirements. You just swap and you're done. And for centralized exchanges, you need to go through KYC process to be able to use those exchanges at all. Now, what are some of the examples for each of the staking options? For solo staking, there's no example. You just do it yourself and you do it everything from scratch. And as I mentioned, I will have a video next week on doing just that, from zero to starting earning staking rewards. For staking as a service, there are a couple companies that are worth mentioning. The first one is Kiln. They're managing about 2.1% of all ETH staked. And the second option is block staking. And if you're an institution or an enterprise and are looking for deploying institutional staking, then definitely have a look at Figment. With their API, it's easy to launch staking, and they claim to have more than average staking performance on Ethereum. For the pooled or liquid staking, what are the good options? There are three that I could recommend, and the first one is Rocket Pool. This is their liquid staking option at about 4.29 APR at the moment. And the second option is Lido. Their current APR is about 4.5%. And the third one would be Stakewise, with current APR at about 4.26, and a few interesting staking products launching pretty soon. And for the last option, for the centralized exchanges, there are two exchanges worth considering, and the first one is Coinbase, which lets you earn about 3.89% per year on Ethereum. And the second is Binance, which has 2.7% earning rate per year at the moment. And now you know what staking is, what are the staking options and pros and cons for each one. If you want to start earning staking rewards, make your now educated decision and happy earning. In the next video, I will be going through a step-by-step tutorial on setting up solo staking. See you soon.